Okay, good morning, everyone. Tuesday, February 22nd, Board of Control. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Good morning. Calling the roll for the Tuesday, February 22nd Board of Control meeting. It's 11:02. Nan Baker.
Here.
Brendan Doyle serving as an alternate for Dale Miller.
Here.
Jim Boyle serving as an alternate for Purnell Jones. Nicole English serving as an alternate for Mike Dever.
Here.
Mike Chambers serving as an alternate for Ermin Budish.
Here.
Lee Tucker serving as an alternate for the fiscal officer.
Here.
Catherine Takachek.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Next in our agenda is the review of the minutes from February 14th. I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
I didn't hear. Seconded by Miss Lee Tucker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Do we have any public comment?
No public comment.
Okay, let's go to our first item, please.
First item, BC 2022-100, Department of Public Works requesting to amend Board Approval Number BC 2022-27, dated January 3rd, 2022, which approved an award on a purchase order to RESA Power LLC for the replacement, repair, and re-racking of an electrical breaker at the Justice Center Tower 2 by changing the amount from $6,823 to $8,734.
Good morning, Tom Pavich, Public Works. We're looking to amend a board approval that we had on January 3rd. This was a mission critical that came before the board. That was originally approved on January 3rd. The adjustment in price is tied to a second invoice that we received for the same project. The original mission critical that was approved on January 3rd was for the actual repair and re-racking of the existing circuit breaker at the Justice Center that was failing. The new dollar amounts being adjusted by $1,911. This was the temporary replacement of that breaker by the same vendor. This ensured that there was no gap in electricity in multiple floors at the Justice Center. This accounts for the full mission critical that was approved by our department director.
Thank you, Mr. Pavich. Questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Nicole English. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item, please.
Next item, BC 2022-101, Department of Public Works, recommending an award and enter into a contract with Rossi Landscaping Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $15,525 for snow removal and salting services at the Cuyahoga County Animal Shelter for the period January 24th, 2022 through April 30th, 2022.
Good morning, Tom Pavich again, Public Works. This is the award recommendation of Rossi Landscaping. It's a not to exceed dollar amount. It's for snow removal services for the remainder of the Northeast Ohio winter season.
Thank you again, Tom. Questions from the board on this item? Yes, Councilwoman Baker.
Just curious, the question we had that the snow season started in 2021 into 2022, were they charging by the push before this? How was that being managed?
No, there was, looking back, and Nicole can confirm this, there was little snow during November, December, even early January. I believe the first large snowfall we had was at the end of January. So it was in December when we realized we do need to get something in place. So, there was no per push charge prior to that, but vendors in this industry and commodity, they've shifted away due to the past 4, 5, 6, 7 years of mild winters Northeast Ohio. They've shifted away from per pushes to a monthly charge, so it is a flat fee charge.
And we did not get charged for November or December. We had no
No
service.
snow.
Yeah.
Nothing in place, correct.
If we had snow, say we had a Christmas snow, that's
We-
not too unusual, how would you have managed it?
We would have used our own forces. So we used to years ago use the sanitary division would run over there because they were at Valley View. You know, there really was right down the street from the kennel.
Okay.
Since they moved to Harvard, it's been a lot more difficult.
Mm.
And they have their own, I mean, a pretty big lot to be doing at Harvard. So it just wasn't working to coordinate and get it all done in time. So
Okay.
that's when we shifted towards this. So we were lucky that they didn't really get much
Right.
snow in those months because we would have had to figure it out internally because we didn't have this in place yet.
Okay, well, that makes sense. Is there any other contracts out there that we haven't covered that we're doing ourselves, or since the winter seems to be, although now pretty mild?
Yeah, not that I know about for winter, because we do our own lots. Our trades guys do our facilities, so I don't think
Okay.
there's any other winter ones that we're lacking right now.
Okay, good.
Our landscapers switched from landscaping to snow plowing in the winter and vice versa, but this was that unique oddball. So she's
Okay.
way out in Valley View, so it just
All right,
makes
so
sense.
this is out of the ordinary.
Kind of a one-off. You know, it's more economical than paying overtime and bringing them in, and
Sure.
so.
Okay, that's good to know.
Sure.
Thanks.
Yes.
And Tom, I'm assuming that, I mean, we've gone through several significant snowstorms in calendar year 2022, and I'm assuming that they've done the work appropriately, and there's been no issues?
Correct.
No issues.
All right.
Yeah, they've done a pretty good job.
Yeah, the kennel's been really happy, actually, with their service.
Yes.
Okay, any final questions on this item? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Baker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Thank you.
Next item, BC 2022-102, Department of Development, submitting an amendment to a contract with Baldwin Wallace University Community Research Institute for economic research and analysis services in connection with the 5-year economic development plan for the period May 17th, 2021 through February 28th, 2022, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2022, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $45,400.
Good morning, Christopher Ferroni from the Department of Development. This is a contract to extend the contract with Baldwin Wallace University, so they continue their economic research and advice work at the same cost as the current contract. This includes economic measures for our 5-year economic development plan, the analysis of the economic impact of projects we fund as well. For example, Baldwin Wallace reported on the economic impact of our support payment that we did to the Greater Cleveland Film Commission. And this cost, as I said, is the same as it is with our existing contract going forward with the amendment.
Okay, thank you. Are there questions from the board on this item?
Just one.
Please.
So if we're moving away from Cleveland State, but we still engage with them on economic development issues, do you see that also moving to Baldwin Wallace as they are not doing our work on this anymore?
I think from my experiences and conversations I've had that we're continuing to work with both. I know Cleveland State had some capacity issues that they didn't have the staffing or availability to work on this project at this time. But I think we desire to continue to have them as a resource as well.
And the cooperation between Cleveland State and Baldwin Wallace is a good cooperation where they're not territorial about what it is they do?
Correct. When we started, the transfer of knowledge was relatively seamless between the two when we initiated this contract, and it's that ongoing partnership has continued to be in place.
Okay, good, thank you.
Sure. Mr. Boyle.
Christopher, just briefly, I see in the backup documents that the request for information was directed to all of the 4-year institutions in Cuyahoga County. Is that correct?
From my understanding, correct. That was done before I was on board. So for my research, yes, it was done to all of those institutions.
Do you know what was Baldwin Wallace the only university or college that submitted?
Yes, they were the one they were the one response we received.
Oh, okay.
Okay, any final questions from the board? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Boyle. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2022-103, Department of Development, submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in a payment to Downtown Cleveland Alliance in the amount of $100,000 for general operating support for the period February 23rd, 2022 through December 31st, 2022, and recommending the payment in connection with said RFP exemption.
Morning, Christopher Ferroni again from the Department of Development. We also have Michael Deemer, the President and CEO of the Downtown Cleveland Alliance, on the call. If there's additional questions for him. So this is the operating support payment for the Downtown Cleveland Alliance. This is our annual payment in lieu of taxes to the Downtown Business Improvement District. Other downtown property owners pay an assessment through real property tax, the tax collection system. So our payment supports the safety ambassadors and maintenance work done by the Downtown Cleveland Alliance staff.
Thank you, Chris. Questions from the board on this item?
Just
Yeah,
a
Mr. Boyle.
comment. I do see Mike on there. Mike, congratulations. I don't think I've spoken to you since you've assumed leadership, but congratulations. And you know the work that this group does is really important for this entire region. And look, the dollar amount is I guess in the overall scheme of things not that much, but again, I think it's vital for this downtown area. And thank you for the work that you and your crew do.
I very much appreciate that, and the support from the county is very much appreciated and very important to our work, so thank you.
I would agree with you. They're out there visible every day, so.
I see them out there watering the plants
Every
and
day,
everything. I mean,
yeah.
I can't keep my grass alive, and these guys got watering. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no, they do a good job.
You
so.
guys come out to Orange Village, can I hire you or no?
The money was right.
The money was very nice.
No comment on that. Anyways, any final comments on this item? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Boyle. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2022-104, Department of Sustainability, submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to Cleveland Water Alliance in the amount not to exceed $35,000 to explore the feasibility of creating a climate risk to business assessment tool for the period February 10th, 2022 through September 30th, 2022, and recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Mike Foley from the Department of Sustainability. So this is a project working with the Cleveland Water Alliance, Cleveland State University, and the Climate Disclosure Project, which is a national nonprofit that deals with climate risk and climate reporting mechanisms. The project's funded by the Cleveland Foundation. We're kind of the organizing entity to receive the money and then pass out contracts to the other entities. But basically, it's putting together kind of a feasibility study of looking at climate risk for business issues. So as climate change occurs, as the South gets hotter and more droughts occur, as their storms get wilder and crazier and more frequent, and there's insurance risk, there's cost of doing business that exist. And so Cleveland State especially is kind of digging in to figure out what are some of those risks, what are the metrics that businesses should start looking at in terms of analyzing what their costs are to do business. And the theory is that we're in a little bit more normal place than a lot of other places in the country, and that we may come out a little bit better. So, so it's kind of in our self-interest to start thinking about this. So that's basically what the project is. This is a separate contract just with the Cleveland Water Alliance. We'll have another contract coming to the board in about 3 to 4 weeks with CDP, with that Climate Disclosure Project.
Thank you, Mr. Foley. Questions from the board on this item?
Just
Yes,
one.
Councilwoman Baker.
And maybe a comment. So we always hear that businesses and residents move from Ohio to warmer, nicer climates, and that it's hard for us to compete to have them come to Ohio because we have the seasons. But what we're saying here is that our seasons aren't delivering what some of these other climates deliver, and now it is actually a plus that perhaps we come to Ohio and consider Ohio because we don't have the hurricanes, and our winter storms are manageable. And our heat in the summer is also manageable. You can go out in an 85-degree day, not a 125-degree day. So it's good to see that we are supporting our climate here finally, because it is a wonderful four-season climate, and we should encourage businesses to consider. So thank you for this legislation.
Yeah, and it's not that we're not going to see changes because of climate change, but they're not going to be as severe as other places in the
Yeah.
country. So that's at least the working theory.
Thank you, Mr. Foley. Any additional questions for Mr. Foley? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Baker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2022-105, Sheriff's Department, recommending an award on a purchase order to Geauga County Sheriff's Department in the amount not to exceed $275,000 for outsourcing prisoner boarding care services to reduce the daily population in the Cuyahoga County Jail for the period January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022.
Good morning. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Great. Tanisha with the Sheriff's Department, we are requesting approval on this purchase order with Geauga County to house county inmates at a rate of $75 per day per inmate to help reduce the inmate population. There was a slight delay with processing this item through the M4 system and receiving a confirmation on whether to process it as we have in the past as a purchase order or to process it through the contract management portion of M4. We do have someone on the call from the jail administration if you guys have any additional questions.
Okay, Tanisha, first I will ask the board if there's any questions on this item or clarifications. Mr. Boyle, please.
So how do the inmates get from Cuyahoga County to Geauga? Do we transport them there?
Rhonda Gibson, Administrative Corrections here. Yes, the Sheriff's Department does transport them.
And when they are released, so if somebody is there doing a 30-day stint and they're released, do we bring them back or do we just open up the door and let them out in Chardon or wherever Geauga County's jail is?
I believe we have been releasing them from Geauga County.
Okay, and how do they get back here?
They would typically secure a ride
Oh,
to
okay.
come back here.
What other counties, I don't see, we used to use Seneca. Do we still use Seneca for any of our stuff?
Currently, we do not have anybody located at Seneca.
All right, so it's just Portage, Lorraine, and Geauga?
Currently, yes.
Okay, those are contiguous, that's fine. All right, thank you.
Are there additional questions from the board?
One.
Yes, Councilwoman Baker.
I was surprised to see that for this effort, there's really only 5, 3 inmates held at Geauga County and 1 at Portage and 1 at Lorraine County. Is that typically what we have, or less than 6? How many would you say we use in a year's time that we transfer to other places?
It's really been dependent upon our population. Before COVID, the numbers would have been higher. I think we might have been up to 20 or so. Fiscal can maybe correct me on that. But due to the dynamic of our population currently, and Geauga County had closed their doors, so to speak, at one point because of their own COVID protocols. It's been limited who we've been sending there.
Good morning, Donna Cleo, Sheriff's Fiscal. On average, in 2021, the average amount of inmates that were held at Geauga was 10. That was the daily average. Again, it varied throughout the year, but that was the daily average.
Do you have the number before COVID, Donna?
You're talking in 2021 or in 2020?
19.
Wait, you're
What?
talking
2019, I guess.
2019, yeah.
I don't have it on me right now. Can we get
Okay.
that? Yeah, we can get it and we can shoot
Okay.
you guys an email if you'd like. We can give you the average for 19 and 20.
That would be good. Thank you.
Hmm.
Sure, we'll do that.
So it must be in your estimation that it's worth the trouble of, in this case, 5, is it 5? 5 inmates to be transferred to ease the population is worth it? And you anticipate that this probably will increase as COVID becomes less of an issue?
I believe it would, and assuming the sheriff's restrictions on who we take gets lifted at some point,
Yeah,
that will open up our population again.
okay. Thanks, thank you.
Are there additional questions from the board? Seeing no additional questions, I will make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Doyle. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2022-106, Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Senior and Adult Services, submitting a grant award from Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging in the amount of $190,867.62 for the Older Americans Act Senior Community Services Program in connection with the Aging and Disability Resource Network Grant Program for the period March 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022.
Good morning, Paul Porter, Services on behalf of the Division of Senior and Adult Services. This is a grant award from Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging. It's funding that we've had for a number of years, and earlier in 2022, I brought forward a 2-month extension of the 2021 agreement that got us through the end of this month, February. I'm thrilled that we're able to bring this forward prior to the start of the grant period, historically, because this is federal funding that passes from the federal government through Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging and to the county. We're usually a month or 2 behind on this. In this case, Western Reserve was able to get us the award notification and all the paperwork to have signed well in advance of the March 1 start, after having given a 2-month extension. This is funding that helps support the work of DSAS's Aging and Disability Resource Center, or ADRC, and the return on investment for this funding is huge. I know that there's a small levy match required for us to get this grant, but the funding helps staff our ADRC team, and that team does benefits outreach throughout the county and connects county residents to anywhere between $500,000 and $750,000 a year over the past 5 years to cost-saving benefits ranging from prescription drug benefits, insurance coverage, to the home energy assistance program and kind of everything in between. So it's great that we get this funding, and it really helps us return a lot of dollars back to county residents.
Okay, Paul, thank you. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Doyle. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item, please.
Next item, BC 2022-107, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Office of Homeless Services. Recommending awards on requisition 7099 and enter into contracts with various providers in the total amount not to exceed $370,106 for various services in connection with the Emergency Solutions Grant Program for the period September 1st, 2021 through August 31st, 2022. For the providers, award amounts and services listed on the printed agenda, items A through F.
Good morning, Paul Porter, Health and Human Services, this time on behalf of the Office of Homeless Services. I'm also joined by Melissa Surak, the Director of the Office of Homeless Services. This was a joint RFP process that was conducted between the county and the city of Cleveland using two separate emergency solutions grant funding pools. So the county's Office of Homeless Services gets their own federal emergency solutions grant funding through HUD, and the city of Cleveland gets their own funding pool. We went through this RFP exercise, and we're making awards to multiple vendors, some of whom are receiving county funding, some of whom are receiving funding from the city of Cleveland's allocation. To that end, there were a total of 13 vendors who submitted proposals. 12 of those vendors are either getting ESG funding from the city or the county. You'll see 6 of those on the list receiving county funding. And then there's a 13th vendor who was recently approved to receive levy funding based on an alternative procurement using their proposal from this RFP. So we aren't recommending that vendor for award under the ESG RFP based on a limited funding amount that's available, but we are giving them levy funding to support the services they proposed. Because it's kind of complicated with us working alongside the city of Cleveland, we know that this RFP, the award is several months behind. That's due to, just a time-consuming process working between our team and the city's team for which entities will receive funding through which pool, as well as a couple of the vendors had trouble meeting the insurance requirements that were contained within the RFP. So we had to work for multiple months between our team, the law department, and the vendors so that they could get insurance coverage that met as many of the requirements as possible, while at the same time being sustainable for them. You'll notice that the vendors' funding amounts, it's a high amount overall because there's multiple awards, but no vendor is getting, a ton of money through this award process. So that makes navigating some of those insurance coverage issues difficult. I do want to note that the services are varied across the continuum of care. So there's awards for housing and shelter, coordinated intake, case management, and other supportive services. But these are separate contracts by vendor. They're just coming from the same RFP, kind of a master emergency solutions grant RFP. So these are not master agreements. They're individual contracts with each of those vendors for their specific services.
Okay, Paul, thank you. Questions from the board on this item? Yes, Councilman Baker.
So we're 7 months into this program. Have the services continued as of September 1st?
Thank you, Councilwoman Baker. Melissa, if you'd like to fill in any of the blanks on this, I'm happy to have you. I believe they are continuing to provide the services because this funding does not fund 100% of the services. It's just a piece of their funding. Is that accurate?
That is correct.
So are these A through F contracts, are they all waiting to be paid as of September 1st, at least in part?
I do believe, Councilwoman Baker, that we do have outstanding invoices and issue payment on. But again, because this makes up only a portion of their funding, they've been able to invoice other funders for services. It's kind of a patchwork, all the different funding that comes in to support these programs and services. So yes, I believe there are invoices that we can pay, but it's not as if they've been operating without any funding whatsoever. It's just that, you know, they've been waiting on this piece of the pie, if you will.
Right. Okay, it's odd that we call it Emergency Solutions Grant, but then takes us 7 months to bring it forward, but I understand the complexity.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any final questions from the board? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Baker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
We're moving on to exemptions. Item BC 2022-108, Sheriff's Department, requesting an alternative procurement process which will result in award recommendations to various providers in the total amount not to exceed $68,960 for various equipment repairs in the jail facilities for the period February 22nd, 2022 through December 31st, 2022, with Belenky Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $10,000, Cleveland Communications Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $38,960, General Parts LLC in the amount not to exceed $15,000, and Toyota Material Handling, Ohio, in the amount not to exceed $5,000.
Tanisha with the Sheriff's Department. We are requesting approval on this exemption to award purchase orders for each vendor in the amount listed. These purchase orders will be used to complete time-sensitive repairs needed to maintain operations within the jail.
Okay, thank you. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Boyle. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2022-109, Sheriff's Department, requesting an alternative procurement process, which will result in award recommendations to various providers in the total amount not to exceed $26,000 for various purchases for food service operations in the jail kitchen for the period February 22nd, 2022 through December 31st, 2022 to W.W. Granger Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $8,000, to Josh and Paper and Packaging in the amount not to exceed $5,000, to Dean Supply Company in the amount not to exceed $8,000, and to Gordon Food Supply in the amount not to exceed $5,000.
Tanisha Gibbs with the Sheriff's Department again, and we are similar to the previous item, requesting approval for this exemption to award the listed vendors in the amounts listed here. And these will be purchase orders used to complete time-sensitive local purchases for items needed to maintain operations within the jail.
Okay, Tanisha, thank you. Questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Nicole English. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Moving on to consent agenda.
We are moving on to consent agenda items BC 2022-110 through 113. And we do have an amendment to the travel under 112 to the trip to Redwood City, California. The travel request is being amended to address an increase in airfare for all 6 attendees. The new amount for airfare will be $446.71 per person.
Okay, board members, a couple items here. You notice the travel's all the same, but it's broken down by person. That way everything can be tracked by the employee. And I was informed that the airfare went up $100 per person, so,
Yep.
okay.
I support, actually, and I think it's important that, and I'm happy to see that the roster of attendees, you have people from kind of different realms to see what's going on, which is important. I mean, just sending jail people is one thing, but sending the public works side that are gonna have to be involved in the planning and the construction, if we ever get to that point, I think that's important. I wanted to give Nicole a hard time, but I cannot. think it's important.
She missed me, but that's okay.
Fair enough.
I would not.
I will just add, we did, we went to see 2 jails so far, and both of them that we visited said that they each went to see, I think Nashville 10 jails, and Raleigh had gone to see 15. So we currently have about 5 at least on our radar. This is the 3rd. Columbus is an easy trip that we're gonna try to make, and Indianapolis opened about a month ago, so we're gonna try to get there. They're still getting their feet on the ground just because they just opened, so they've asked us to hold off a bit, but that's the other one that is at least on our radar for right now. So we are looking to go see a couple of those.
Yeah, and
as
you
well.
and T. Morales can just, drive down there.
Yeah, those will be driving trips, yes.
Good. Well, with that being said, are there any questions on today's Board of Control items? Seeing none, then, I will make a motion to approve the items as listed. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by, was that you, Mr. Boyle?
Yes.
By Mr. Boyle. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Today's consent agenda item is approved. Moving on to other business.
And that was approved as amended.
Oh, yes, as amended. Thank you.
And no other business?
No other business. Any public comment?
No public comment?
Well, that leaves one thing left. I will make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Lee Tucker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.